Welcome, everyone, to the Meaningful Hearts podcast, where we discuss the everyday questions that make us or break us if we let them. With your hosts, Drew and Daniela. Take our hands and let's walk this journey together. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Meaningful Hearts podcast. Today, I am flying solo, and I wanted to talk about catastrophizing, that word, and what it means to me. Well, it's something that I'm pretty familiar with, the ability to imagine the worst possible outcome of an action or event, or seeing the worst in something, or assuming that things are going to be the worst than worse than they really are. You know, having negative thoughts towards things and having all that before you even start. It's like seeing ahead. You know, going on a trip that you think is not going to be fun, and thinking about all the possible things could probably go wrong, or how frustrated you're going to be. You're just throwing all these things ahead and having a feeling about it, and pretty much never doing that thing or deviating from it and doing something else instead that you deem is safer or a lot more fun or a lot more predictable. And it's usually side effects of, you know, if you have anxiety or you're depressed or sad. It could definitely, like, living your life that way could definitely lead to those things as well. But I really think that it stems from, earlier on in my life when, you know, living in a household that was pretty turbulent, that was pretty negative. And I guess, you know, my mom having that outlook on life, my father having that negative outlook on life. And I guess I adapted it. My grandmother was super negative. Holy moly. Very, very negative. She would have this ability to just kind of go down the path that she knew was certain and not deviate at all. And then when she did deviate and something came up that I guess was unexpected, she would, you know, be all upset about it. I knew I shouldn't have done it this way. I knew I should have done it the way that I wanted to do it, because going this way or going this route or doing it this way, I knew I was going to encounter all these issues. And like confirming what you've been thinking, or even just leading yourself in that direction. And I think that just being around people and influences like that really shaped the way that I think, or the way that I thought, and how I grew into that mindset. And it's been really, really difficult for me. Really, really difficult. I would say that a good majority of my life, I didn't even realize I was doing this. A good majority of my life, I was like, yeah, it's just what I know, because, you know, I've seen things. So I know that this is how it is. And just being this very cynical person. And don't get me wrong, there are some things that I would say are, I guess, well justified. Not doing certain things that could possibly put you in a dangerous way. I mean, not all things I think are catastrophes, but I would say that for a lot of things that I would just avoid doing because I just didn't want an uncertain result, right? I wouldn't like to put myself in a position where I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I need to be certain. And it definitely prevented me from trying a lot of things, going a lot of places, having new experiences. It definitely put me in a really difficult place in my life, because being faced with challenges, like we all get challenged, and especially as you get older and you meet new people and you get into relationships with people, like when my relationship with Daniela, where she's very adventurous, brings up a lot of challenges as far as trying new things, scaling a mountain, going on a vacation, and, you know, going hiking, things that I've never done before, and encountering the wilderness and pushing yourself to do things that you wouldn't normally do, being scared of heights and climbing up steep rocks, or doing stuff like that, it was something that I thought was nice. It was great, but to actually go and do it, it's like, I don't know. I don't think that's for me. Without even, by looking ahead and seeing, wow, this could be something too dangerous, or just not something that I could see myself doing, and it would probably be a failure or a catastrophe. And now I don't want to do that. So I think that all these thoughts that I had, this narrative in my head that I played back and forth, became what I thought of everything, and it became this this area of certainty in my life, and that's what I followed, and that's what kept me the safest. And I think that the human mind, the human body, it always wants you to keep, it always wants to keep you safe, right? Do something that is not comfortable to you, and your body will automatically tell you to go back to the safest, most certain thing, by nature, by default. But in doing so, you won't experience certain things. You won't experience a lot of things. I mean, you go to the gym and try to work out your muscles, and your muscles are you're starting to feel pain. You're like, oh, your body's like, no, you should stop. You should drop the weights because I'm feeling pain here. But actually, that's you want to feel. You want to feel that burn. You want to feel that because that's how you help the muscle grow. But it's little things like that that obviously that are connected to your mind, and then it's your choices on what you decide to do with your life. And by default, your body wants to be safe. By default, your mind wants to put you into a safe place. So adding these extra things, these anxieties, these thoughts on top of it makes you really move out of the way of potential quote unquote danger, and go the easier route. And for a good portion of my life, I spent time doing those things that I deemed was safer, because I didn't want to deal with any of those issues. I didn't want to deal with anything like that. And in doing so, it definitely put me in some really challenging positions. Now, going forward, it's something that I've visited more and more, in the past few years, especially with all the things that have happened, the pandemic, and a lot of challenging events in my life. And then obviously being with Daniela and really being challenged to do more, and to be more in ways that I've never thought, definitely made me think a lot about, think a lot about these things. And I want to make a great effort to push myself to do things that are completely out of my comfort zone, completely out of my deemed safety, and explore those things. And now it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be something that I'm just going to be completely the opposite, but I am going to challenge myself to do a lot more than I ever thought possible, because just getting a little taste of it's like, wow, it's not as bad as I thought. And it's almost like you have to put that into your mind. You have to retrain it to think differently, because your compass of thinking, your compass of understanding is kind of off. It's not correct, especially when you're somebody who has high levels of anxiety, and you're always thinking, you're always worrying, you're always like looking ahead. Like, that needs to be recalibrated. And I've realized that over time, that it needs to be, because there's no way to live. I mean, unfortunately, we're all going to die one day. Like, that is certainty. We don't know when that's going to happen, but it will happen eventually. So it's like we're trying to necessarily avoid danger, avoid death, right? That's what our body tries to do. But there's a lot of living that you can do. And if you don't truly get to go out there and live, then you can't look back at your life and be like, damn, I wish I would have done those things. You have to kind of just act on it and live. You have to allow yourself to experience. And sometimes there's dangers in that. But, anticipating danger at all the times, it's overwhelming. It's exhausting. It's an awful feeling. And I realized that I spent a lot of my life trying to do what I thought was certain. And in doing so, I ended up in uncertain situations myself. I just wanted to share that with you all, as I am preparing to go on a short little vacation. I'm actually going to get on an airplane again, something I haven't done often, something I really dread doing. But at the same time, I know that I have to, in order to experience travel and go places. So this came, I guess, came to the forefront of my mind, certainty and all these other things and worrying. But I want to reach out to you guys and let you know that if these are things that you're experiencing, we're here for you and we understand and we want to get better and we want to grow. And the only way to do so is to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and push through and try to change that narrative in your mind that tells you that you can't do something or things aren't going to turn out well, and make it a better story that you can use to push yourself, to drive yourself forward and become more. I appreciate you all for listening. I love you, and we will talk soon.